Conflict resolution skills, building the skills that can turn conflicts into opportunities. Conflict is the normal part of any healthy relationships. After all, two people can be expected to agree on everything all the time. Learning how to deal with conflict rather than avoiding it is crucial. When conflict is mismanaged, it can cause great harm to a relationship. But when handled in a respectful, positive way, conflict provides an opportunity to strengthen the bond between two people. By learning this skill by conflict resolutions, you can keep your personal and professional relationships strong and growing. Understanding conflict in relationships. Conflict arises from differences, both large and small. It occurs whenever people disagree over their values, motivations, perceptions, ideas, or desires. Sometimes these differences appear trivial, but when a conflict triggers strong feelings, a deep personal need is often at the core of the problem. This need can be a need to feel safe, secure, a need to feel respected and valued, or a need for greater closeness and intimacy. Conflict arises from differing needs. Everyone's needs are felt, understood, nurtured, and supported, but the way in which these needs are met vary wildly. Differing needs for feeling comfortable and safe create some of the most severe challenges in our personal and professional relationships. Think about the conflicting need for safety and continuity versus the need to explore and take risk. You will frequently see the conflict between toddler and their parents. The child's need is explored, but the trees or cliffs meet the need, but the parent's need is protect the child's safety. So limiting the explorations becomes a bone of contention between them. The needs of both parties play important roles in the long-term success of most relationships, and each deserves respect and consideration. In personal relationships, a lack of understanding about differing needs can result in distant arguments and breakups. In workplace conflicts, differing needs are often at the heart of bitter disputes, sometimes resulting in broken deals, fewer profits, and lost jobs. When you can recognize the illegitimacy of conflicting needs and become willing to examine them in an environment of compassionate understanding, it's open pathway to creative problem solving, team building, and improved relationships. Conflict 101. A conflict is more than just a disagreement. It is a situation in which one or both parties perceive a threat, whether or not the threat is real. Conflicts continue to fester when ignored. Because conflict involves perceived threats to our well-being and survival, they stay with us until we face and resolve them. We respond to conflicts based on our perceptions of the situations, not necessarily to an objective objective reviews of the fact. Our perceptions are influenced by our life's experience, culture, values, and beliefs. Conflict triggers strong emotions. If you aren't comfortable with your emotions or able to manage them in times of stress, you won't be able to resolve conflict successfully. Conflicts are an opportunity for growth. When you're able to resolve conflict in a relationship, it builds trust. You can feel secure knowing your relationship can survive challenges and disagreements. Conflict may feel more threatening to you than it really is. Do you fear conflict or avoid it at all costs? If your perceptions of conflict comes from frightening or painful memories from previous unhealthy relationships or earlier childhood, you may expect all present-day disagreements to end badly. You may use conflict in relationship as demoralizing, humiliating, dangerous, and something to fear. If your early life experience also left you feeling out of control and powerless, conflicts may even be traumatizing for you. If you view conflict as dangerous, it tends to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you go into a conflict situation already feeling extremely threatened, it's tough to deal with the problem at hand in a healthy way. Instead, you are more likely to shut down or blow up in anger. Healthy and unhealthy ways of managing and resolve conflicts. Unhealthy response to conflict and an inability to recognize and respond to the things that matter to the other person. Explosive angers, harmful and resentful reaction. The withdrawal of love, resulting in rejections, isolation, shaming, a fear of abandonment, and an ability to compromise or see the other person's side. The fear and avoidance of conflicts, the expectation of a bad outcome. Healthy response to conflict. A capacity to recognize and respond to the things that matter to the other person. Calm, non-defensive and respectful reactions. A readiness to forgive and forget, and to move past the conflict without holding resentment or anger. The ability to seek compromise and avoiding punishing. I believe that facing conflict head-on is the best thing for both sides. Successful conflict resolutions depends on your ability to regulate stress and your emotions. Conflict triggers strong emotion and can lead to hurt feelings, disappointment, and discomfort. When handled in an unhealthy manner, it can cause irreparable rifts, resentment, and breakups. But when conflict is resolved in a healthy way, it increases our understanding of one another, builds trust, and strengthens our relationship bonds. If you are out of touch with your feelings, we're all stressed that you can only pay attention to a limited number of emotions, you won't be able to understand your own needs. And if you don't understand your own needs, you will have a hard time communicating with others and staying in touch with what's really troubling you. For example, couples often argue about petty differences. The way she hangs the towels, the way he slops his suits, rather than what is really bothering them. The ability to successfully resolve conflict depends on your ability to manage stress quickly while remaining alert and calm. By staying calm, you can accurately read and interpret verbal and nonverbal communication. Control your emotions and behavior. When you are in control of your emotions, you can communicate your needs without threatening, frightening, or punishing the others. Pay attention to the feelings being expressed, as well as the both spoken words of others. Be aware of and respectful of differences. By avoiding disrespectful words and actions, you can almost always resolve a problem faster. To successfully resolve a conflict, you will need to learn and practice two core skills: the ability to quickly reduce stress in the moment and the ability to remain comfortable enough with your emotion to react in contracted ways even in the midst of an argument or perceived attack. Quick stress relief, the first core conflict resolution skill. Being able to manage it and relieve stress in the moment is the key to staying balanced, focused, and in control no matter what challenges you face. If you don't know how to stay centered and in control yourself, you will become overwhelmed in conflict situations and unable to respond in healthy ways. Psychologist Kenny Lelos used a driving analogy to describe the three most common ways people respond when they are overwhelmed by stress. Foot on the gas. An angry or agitated stress response. You are heated, keyed up, overly emotional and unable to sit still. Foot on the brake. A withdrawal or depressed stress response. You shut down, space off, and show very little energy or emotion. Foot on the both gas and brake. A tense and frozen stress response. You freeze under pressure and can't do anything. You look paralyzed, but under the surface you are extremely agitated. Stress interferes with the ability to resolve conflict by limiting your ability to accurately read another person's nonverbal communication. You hear what someone is really saying. Be aware of your own feelings. Be in touch with your deep-rooted needs. Communicate your needs clearly. Is stress a problem or you? You may be so used to being stressed that you are not even aware you are stressed. Stress may be a problem in your life if you identify with the following. You often feel tense or tight somewhere in your body. You are not aware of movement in your chest and stomach when you breathe. Conflict absorbs your time and attention. Learn how to beat stress in the moment. The best way to rapidly and reliably relieve stress, if you don't have someone close at hand to talk to, is through the senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. But each person responds differently and sensory input, so you need to find things that are soothing to you. Emotional awareness. The second course conflict resolution skills. Emotional awareness is the key to understanding yourself and others. If you don't know how you feel or why you feel that way, you won't be able to communicate effectively or resolve disagreements. Although knowing your own feelings may sound simple, many people ignore or try to sedate strong emotions like anger, sadness, and fear. Your ability to handle conflict, however, depends on being connected to these feelings. If you are afraid of strong emotion, or if you insist on finding solutions that are strictly rational, your ability to face resolve differences will be impaired. Why emotional awareness is a key factor in resolving conflict. Emotional awareness, the conscious of your moment-to-moment emotional experience, and the ability to manage all of your feelings appropriately is the basis of a communication process that can resolve conflict. Emotional awareness helps you understand what is really troubling other people, understand yourself, including what is really troubling you, stay motivated until the conflict is resolved, communicate clearly, effectively, attract and influence others. Assessing your ability to recognize and manage emotions. A following quiz help you assess your level of emotional awareness. Answer the following questions with almost never, occasionally, often, very frequently, or almost always. There are no right or wrong response, only the opportunity to become better acquainted with your emotional response. What kind of relation I have with my emotions? Do you experience feeling that floor, encountering one emotion after another, as your experience changes from moment to moment? Are your emotions accompanied by physical sensations that you experience in places like your stomach or chest? Do you experience discrete feelings or emotions, such as anger, sadness, fear, joy, each of which is evident in subtle facial expressions? Can you experience intense feelings that are strong enough to capture both your attention and that of others? Do you pay attention to your emotions? do you factor into your decision making? If any of these experiences are unfamiliar, your emotions may be turned on or even turned off. In either case, you may need to help developing your emotional awareness. You can do this by reading Developing Emotional Awareness. Nonverbal communication plays a big role in conflict resolution. The most important information exchanged during conflict and arguments is often communicated nonverbally. Nonverbal communication is conveyed by emotionally driven facial expression, posture, gesture, pace, tone, and intensity of voice. The most important communications is wordless. When people are upset, the words that usually conveys the issues and needs at the heart of the problem. When we listen for what is felt as well as what is said, we connect more deeply to our own needs and emotions and to those of other people. Listen this way also strengthens us, informs us, and make it easier for others to hear us. When you are in the middle of conflict, paying close attention to the other person's nonverbal signals may help you figure out what the other person is really saying. It will allow you to respond in a way that builds trust and get to the root of the problem. A calm tone of voice, a reassuring touch, or an interested or concerned factual expression can go a long way towards relaxing a tense exchange. Your ability to accurately read another person depends on your own emotional awareness. The more aware you are of your own emotions, the easier it will be for you to pick up on the wordless clues that reveals that others are feeling. Humor, judiciously used, can effectively diffuse conflicts. Once threats and emotions are brought into balance, your capacity for joy, pleasures, and playfulness is unleashed. Joy is the deceptively powerful resource. Studies show that you can surmount adversities as long as you continue to have moments of joy. Humor plays similar roles when facing conflict. You can avoid many confrontations and resolve arguments and disagreements by communicating in a humorous way. Humor can help you say things that might otherwise be difficult to express without offending someone. However, it's important that you laugh at the other person, not at them. When humor and play are used to reduce tensions and anger, reframe problems and put the situations into perspective, and the conflict can actually become an opportunity for greater connection and intimacy. Tips for meeting and resolving conflict. Managing and resolving conflict requires the ability to quickly reduce stress and bring your emotions into balance. You can ensure that the process is as positive as possible by sticking to the following guidelines. Listen to what is felt as well as said. When we listen, we connect more deeply to our own needs and emotions, and to those of other people. Listening also strengthens us, informs us, and makes it easier for others to hear us when it is our turn to speak. Make conflict resolutions the priorities rather than winning or being right. Maintaining and strengthening a relationship rather than winning the argument should always be your first priority. Be respectful of the other person and his or her viewpoint. Focus on the present. If you are holding on the grudge based on past resentments, your ability to see the realities of the current situations will be impaired. Rather than looking to the past and assigning blame, focus on what you can do in the here and now to solve the problem. Pick your battle. Conflict can be draining, but it's important to consider whether the issue is really worthy of your time and energy. Maybe you don't want to surrender a parking space if you have been circling for 15 minutes, but if there are dozens of empty spots, arguing over a single space isn't worth it. Be willing to forgive. Resolving conflict is impossible if you are unwilling or unable to forgive. Resolution lies in releasing an urge to punish, which can never compensates for our losses and only adds to our injuries by further depleting and draining our lives. Know when to let something go. If you can't come to an argument, argue to disagree. It takes two people to keep an argument going. If the conflict is going nowhere, you can choose to disengage and move on.